Welcome to Talking Tuesday. I am your host, Fancy Quant, and today we're going to talk about time management because one of our awesome subscribers here asked me about, Dimitri, how do you juggle all of these different sorts of projects and jobs and everything that's going on here? So for those of you that don't know, I work full-time as a quant, so I have a day job. I run an entire quant team at a startup firm, so I'm putting in risk practices and model governance, and I'm working on pricing and origination strategies and doing the analytics side on that. So I'm running this whole structure and team, and my team is a whole massive whopping size, including myself, 3 people, and we're doing it all. So it has been chaotic and stressful and a ton of work on the work side. Then I also run the YouTube channel here. So this is, Fancy Quant, Dimitri, Bianco YouTube channel. A lot of this has like technical planning, getting video ideas, shooting like I'm doing today. I'm sitting here. It's the 23rd, December 23rd here. My parents are flying in tonight. I'm trying to hurry and shoot all this video so that when everyone's here, I can kind of slip out here and edit, but I don't have to worry about, shooting video like this and then like somebody walking in behind me and then anyways, it's a bunch of other stuff. But I'm doing this because I need to hurry and get all this stuff done here. So I run the YouTube channel. I run a half-functional, also another YouTube channel called Bianco Land, which is just my personal interest and hobbies. That ties together a lot of my personal life. So I run more or less a small homestead. I garden, produce a few 100 pounds of food currently. We're trying to ramp this up here. No animals, livestock, anything like that. But I also have 2 honeybee hives, so I raise honeybees. Just to give you some perspective on this, I have a 400 square foot garden. I've lost count. I have over 30 fruit trees. Of those, I believe about 11 of them are citrus trees, which require a little bit special care, and they got to get moved in and out and all that. And all these sorts of things. And then auto repair. So I fix cars and home repairs and building this crazy shop that I'm sitting in today. All of this is part of my daily interests and hobbies that gets baked into this Bianco Land YouTube channel. If you go check it out, there's almost no content. I have a few here and there. I don't post very often because I just don't have time, which we'll talk about here in a second. And then on top of that, right, I'm a dad, I'm married, I have a wife, so I'm a husband, and I do a lot of stuff with my daughters, like gymnastics, and my daughter's younger now, she's not in school yet, and I spend a lot of time working with her, and we don't send her to daycare. She stays home with my wife and I, so I work, and we juggle kids in a household, and a homestead and all these sorts of things, and magically I can get all these pieces put together. And so somebody asked about this, as it looks like, Dimitri's just sitting back like, I got this handled, it's no big deal. It's chaos and stress, let me tell you that. So somebody asked about this. I guess there's a kind of side note on here. One of the best compliments I have ever gotten was at the Princeton conference. I was having dinner, and one of the other guys that's a VP or SVP at one of these other large global firms was like, wait, you got a YouTube channel? And I'm like, yeah, and I'm talking about it. And I'm like, I got this side project, I got this garage I'm building, and I got this other project. And he's like looking on his phone at this, and he's like, man, I am so impressed that you can work, run a family, and do the YouTube and the homestead and all these other things. He's like, me living in New York City, it's just been this massive juggle of trying to have a full-time job and have a family, right? That in itself is a lot of time, commitments that you have to put together to make everything function here. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how I manage it. The reality is I am burning the candle at both ends. I have high stress. I have a slight adverse health effects from it. So anyways, I'm not going to go into the details on it, but I've kind of got it managed. The number one tip, though, I'm going to give you guys here is going to be repetition. So having some sort of ritual, some sort of process that you follow, you absolutely have to have it. If you don't have a structured kind of like routine that you go through every week, it's impossible. You cannot manage as much stuff as I'm managing. It's just complete chaotic nonsense. I use no digital apps and planners. I don't have time for that. So first one's going to be the routine, right? You need that routine. The routine is going to be, it helps you plan and get like a rhythm. Like I know I have gymnastics on Tuesdays. My daughter's at this time. So I block that out on my work calendar for everything. I know that. And then I start to block out, other times and slots. Like If I'm going to do any sort of gardening, for the most part, it's got to be done on the weekends, right? You kind of start to isolate, and you know these are the time frames and these are the slots of when you can do things, when you can't do things. All of my YouTube recordings, for example, used to be at night. So when I'd get home from the office, or I'd be done working at home, because I work at home 4 days a week. So this is another big secret of my success, is I have to be able to work from home so I can juggle everything, because driving in a car an hour to 2 hours each way, which is, I don't know, let's just say it's an hour each day, each way. So 2 hours a day times 5 days a week. That's 10 hours of time I could have been recording YouTube videos and editing and gardening and spending time with my family. I don't have the time to waste that to be in the office. Now, I'm in the office 1 day a week. It takes me about an hour to an hour and a half to drive each way. So anywhere from 2 to 3 hours for the week. It's not a deal killer. There are benefits of being in office and hands-on with employees and meetings and face-to-face, and there's a lot of advantages. I'm still a fan of being in the office part-time, but to juggle everything, I have to be able to have more time, and realistically, time is just math. You have so many hours, and you have to reduce your time by all these different things you choose to do. Driving to the office is just not a good use of my time, in my opinion. But anyway, so I shoot all my YouTube videos at night, though. That's how I do all that. That's how I do editing here. Usually, like Saturday, I will be editing late into the night, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Hopefully not midnight, but sometimes later. Trying to get these things out and scheduled to release on the morning on Sundays. When I do podcasting schedules, it is a huge time commitment, because I tried to line up 12 episodes. One secret here is doing planning and trying to get things done in advance. So I do a bunch of recordings in advance. And then I say, I'm going to release a podcast episode. And I look great and amazing and well organized. And things typically come out on schedule, just because I have spent like 4 months beforehand, 5 months beforehand recording, when I just have an extra, 20, 30 minutes to shoot an episode. And then they get kind of stacked up here. So getting that routine, knowing when you are working on different things, I think helps compartmentalize and break things out. That's kind of the number one piece here. The number two piece besides this is going to be, I have a paper planner I carry with me everywhere at the office. I take it with me for the most part during all of my work days. It does not really have my personal life in it. But this is what keeps me on task and focused and efficient for things that are going to be, the work stuff. And I've got work stuff everywhere. It's exploding everywhere. I'm at a startup firm here. And so I've always got, different things I'm working on, and projects and vendors and employees, and other departments need things, and now we're behind schedule. This planner is nothing fancy, but it just has a day, like a box for a day. This one has a section for notes and hours. That is not very important here, but it's just good to have a paper planner to write down ideas, thoughts, things that need to get done, write down your deadlines. And then I have time to translate the deadlines and things into, things for other people, like Word documents or Outlook calendars, and send out calendar invites. But this keeps me put together. There's no way I can do it without the planner. And I do fall off the bandwagon, and I just get chaotically lost in just too many projects going on, too many employees asking for things and departments needing things. And I stop using the planner. And then all of a sudden I'm missing deadlines. I don't have my work put together. I'm being pulled in too many directions. And luckily, my current boss makes me meet every Monday morning at 8:30. And so luckily I try to sit down before that when I get up in the morning on Mondays. And again, part of that routine is, all right, I need to stop, think, and put the time into planning. I know it seems like a waste of time, but it will make you much more efficient throughout the week here. So the second point is going to be having a planner. Now, the third point is going to be, if you want to have 1,000,001 hobbies like myself, and you want to do a bunch of things, you have to prioritize in your head how things are going to go here. So looking at priority-wise, realistically, my work comes first. What I mean by this is, I'm not saying work is more important than family or other things, but my work has my 9 to 5. One of the pieces of me working from home is I put more pressure on myself that I need to be working that minimum 40 hours a week to get everything done. And so when we have chaotic family events, I typically try to shuffle my work first within the hours. And then I shuffle things around sometimes as needed. So like if work's a little slow, my daughter's having a meltdown, she needs something, I'll take the half an hour to get her TV show going and get her settled and her snacks set up. It's the same thing as me wasting half an hour talking to the guy next to me about, I don't know, his I don't know, virtual sporting fantasy sports league thing, whatever. It's the same thing as working with colleagues. I just have a 3-year-old colleague next to me that needs a little assistance and support, and I move it around and I work a little bit later. But prioritize is going to be critical here. Work takes number one priority in those work hour frameworks. Family takes priority for the most part everywhere else. So that's where all my rest of my time goes. And then finally on top of that, YouTube comes third. So I do or die, try to get videos put out and try to get scheduling and timing and recording, and it's chaotic, but I get it done. That's number 3. And then number 4 is going to be like the yard and the garden and stuff. So sometimes I need to water trees. It's going to be 110 degrees tomorrow. Trees suffer, crops die. Life happens. But when you have the rank ordering here, you have to realize if your time is stretched too thin, you're going to be like chopping off pieces. So sometimes I've missed YouTube videos. Now, if I've missed a YouTube video or a podcast, which has happened quite a bit recently because some of my scheduling, had a new daughter, so family takes more priority here. But what happens is then I don't take care of the yard. And then I don't take care of the YouTube channel, and that's delayed and behind. And so now I'm only taking care of the job and the family, and you're going to have to cut back. And I guess the final tip here is just put things into kind of perspective here. So, if you start cutting things back, realize like you're going to fail at stuff. You can't do everything under the sun. And I am trying to do everything under the sun, but I have the internal recognition. It's hard to swallow the pill, but I'm not going to do great at everything. My garden, my yard, like all of my personal projects. This stupid shop that I'm sitting in here recording in, which was my dream garage project, turned into a massive nightmare of 2 years plus, and I've still got things to be done. I mean, if you're not on the podcast version, you see there's a hole in the wall. There needs to be a door there so I can store stuff behind this door. That's insulation and 2x8 framing for the ceiling you see. That air conditioner also does not work because I did most of the installation and HVAC companies refused to come out and help me because apparently mini splits in the US is like, complete mind-blowing process because they only know how to put in the big unit with the HVAC system that goes indoors. I know, it shocks the hell out of me, but anyways, but those are kind of my tips here. So 1's going to be the routine. 2 is going to be having the planner, writing things physically down. It does something to your brain when you physically write it down. I also have a whiteboard inside where me and my wife share responsibilities and write things down so we remember to do them, including grocery lists and all that stuff, because my brain won't remember them when I'm at the grocery store. I'll miss like half the things. 3rd's going to be prioritizing, because you're going to have the prioritizing of what things come first, second, third. Realize you're going to have to drop things. You're not going to be able to get everything done. And so based on that prioritization, that's what you need to be focusing on. And then the things at the bottom are going to get cut first as time's just not available. And then 4th is just realizing like you can't do it all. You're going to have to drop things sometimes. Like it's been a discussion with myself and my family for years now on like, should I drop the YouTube channel? It's a big time commitment. It takes up a lot of my resources, my brain power, my planning. But it all kind of ties together for me, which I guess is one of my big secrets of success as well, is my YouTube channel is tied into my work. My personal hobbies are tied into my other YouTube channel. And then my family is kind of mixed in the whole thing of, in my hobbies and my interests and all that. And so trying to put everything together so you can kind of hit 2 or 3 birds with one stone is also kind of a good thing. Like if I just happen to, like I need to plant, this tree, I'll just make a video while I'm sitting here doing it. You can kind of get 2 things done at once. So anyways, those are my tips and tricks on staying organized and juggling way too many hobbies, jobs, interests, and family. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until next time.